thanks so much for coming back onto the show, and welcome, Emma. This will be a follow-up to this weekend's upload regarding abuses within the Agapé Boarding School for Boys, a private Christian school located in Missouri, a school that you, Robert, were sent to by your parents and where you lived from the ages of 12 to 18. And there's been a huge response to that video, hasn't there, Rob?
Yeah, no, there has been a pretty big response, and very grateful for it. A lot of people have actually reached out a lot more than I had expected. Just today, actually, I think a former staff member reached out to me, said he wants to come forth against the school, and Emily, and there's been a lot of other people who've reached out to me, but Emily's got a very interesting story in the fact that she's actually related directly to the Clemenson family.
Hi, my name is Emily Fogg. I am related to the Clemensons who own Agape. Agape is a boarding school in Stockton, Missouri. That's been its longest home is in Stockton, Missouri. It is a boarding school that claims that they will unconditionally love your children. It's clearly in the name Agape, and that they are going to love your troubled teens and put them on the right path, but it's actually the complete opposite. It's filled with abuse, manipulation, secrets, lies, malicious intent, and they shouldn't be operating. And I want everyone to hear the stories that come from this awful place that's supposed to be full of unconditional love.
At Agape, we lovingly, patiently, and biblically teach your child the importance of submission to authority and the joys of being an obedient, law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, I'm actually blood related to the Clemensons. My mother her older sibling is married into the Clemenson family. So I grew up with them my entire life, very close knit. I stopped contact with them roughly when I was like 14. But there was definitely like a lot of abuse in the household from the Clemenson side. Mostly sexual abuse between quite a few of the Clemenson kids. Sorry, my cat. Between a few of the Clemenson kids, the oldest being Ashley, the second oldest being Jareth, third oldest being Lauren, and fourth oldest being Jamin, all abused me for roughly 10 years. It started when I was about 4. Ashley would tend to orchestrate a lot of it, and then it kind of went into separate abuse between the 4 Clemenson kids and myself. I do know other family members of mine that have confided in me and said, yeah, that abuse happened to me as well. They don't feel comfortable sharing their story, and that's totally okay, but there's definitely multiple people who have confirmed this, on top of the fact of Jareth Clemenson is a registered sex offender back in 2017, and I didn't find out about it until this year, scrolling on TikTok, just doing, what I do on TikTok, scrolling through, and all of a sudden I see a TikTok from Amanda Householder from Circle of Hope, and it was her exposing Jareth with the screenshot. If you just Google his name, it comes up with his sex offender registry, and I was at work, I saw it and panicked, and I was like, oh my God, that's my abuser. It happened to someone else as well. There's no way. It was really validating to see it, as unfortunate as it is. It was really validating to see, I wasn't the only one, and it was validated. It was real. And nobody in the family said anything. They all kept it quiet.
Did anyone in the family, do you think Kathy or James knew about it, or Brian?
Kathy and James would have absolutely had to have known about it, considering the fact that it happened in Missouri, it happened in Cedar County. It basically happened all under their watch. Knowing that Jareth's own father, Angela and Alan Clemenson, had physically punished me for getting caught in this act with their kids multiple times when we were kids. They had come in to check on us when we were supposed to be sleeping. Obviously sleeping wasn't happening. Abuse was, and they had caught us, had both taken us to their room, spanked me, and the other kid got off scot-free. And
and you weren't even the one you weren't even the abuser. You were the one being sexually abused and physically abused.
And they knew and never spoke to my grandma about it, my grandpa about it. Even my own two parents never chose to be like, hey, the kids are seeming to have this kind of problem. We need to keep them separated. They were all, the Clemensons are very into what benefits them. And Alan and Angela needed a place to live for free. So of course they're going to keep it quiet, because if my grandma actually knew about this, my grandma wouldn't have allowed them to move in with us, where further abuse happened and further neglect happened. Not only that, but having a family of 9 move in with a family of 5 in a 2-bedroom house is just not the way that
I can only imagine. It's probably pretty hectic.
Yeah, I mean, there was a cool portion of the time where the boys would have to sleep outside in a tent because we didn't have room, because Angela and Alan Clemenson didn't want to find like their own place to live, and would like essentially burden my grandma and the rest of our family, as much as I hate to say it, but they were a burden to, 14 people in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Like, we had to take group showers just to get through showers. And like, it would be me, the 3 oldest girls, and the 2 younger kids, literally in one shower together. Okay, you wash your hair. Okay, next to the back. You wash your hair. Okay, next to the back. Like an assembly line, just to get through a shower. And then having kids sleep in a tent, like, no. The older we got, the less the abuse happened when I went to go live with my father full time. And then I think they eventually went back to Missouri and then came back. They always tend to go back to Missouri whenever things kind of get rough, in California or in Nevada.
What did you know? I think you had mentioned something about some stuff with Agape and about how they would hide the women and children from CPS and stuff like that.
My own dad went to Agape. So he went to Agape, and then this was when Agape was located in Washington on the Air Force Base. He went to Agape. He graduated Agape, started working at Agape. Him and Alan were really close. And my mom would go and visit him because they were engaged, and Angela would go too because Angela and Alan were married. So they would go visit their husband and fiance. And there was a portion my mom told me recently of when they were in Washington, because the state kept trying to come in to like regulate, as they should. The Clemenson, Jim and Kathy, were not about it. They were, you can't come in here. We're, boarded all up. Whereas, if you are really doing wonderful things, you would want people to see all the wonderful things you're doing. As, they claim all these great things they're doing. You'd want, come check out all the wonderful programs we have and all this. Obviously, they're not. They're very secretive, love to hide everything. So there was a portion when the authorities kept trying to come in to the Washington location to kind of regulate. The men of Agape lied to the women and children and said, hey, we're going to send you away to a conference for about a week. Make sure you pack all your best clothes. My mom being included in that, along with Angela, had gone and hid away. I'm not sure where, but my mom has more details on it. But they went and hid away for about a week from authorities with women and children. And later, after the week had happened, Angela and my mom are like, what's going on? Why didn't you tell us? And the boys were like, well, we knew if we would have told you, wouldn't have gone along with it. So it's like, clearly Alan knew some stuff was going along with my father. And I think shortly after that, my father and my mother moved back to California and started their life in California. But there was a cool while where they had to like hide out for a week or so with women and children, just like hiding somewhere. I think it was like in a gymnasium or something, to evade authority, to not get caught. I know that they were threatening to take Angela and Alan's kids away. So Angela, of course, panicking, I'm going to take my kids and go. I think at that point she had the 2 older ones. And they were at least, the 2 older ones, and probably pregnant with the 3rd, if not almost pregnant with the 3rd. And so CPS, obviously they shouldn't have kids at all in anywhere near them. They should be behind bars. But CPS was trying to come in and take not only the Agape kids, but the Clemensons' own biological kids, and they were evading authority. And I just think that's insane that like that's not known. So I think that like meeting you, I think is been such a wonderful opportunity, and I'm so glad that you and I can kind of form this friendship and bond over these really unfortunate events. And I'm really sorry for what they did to you, and I am looking forward to seeing the repercussions.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of time.
Exactly. And
yeah,
this can't continue to do this. I mean, Jareth Clemenson has been abusing females and boys since at least the year 2000, when I was 4 years old and when my abuse started.
Well, if you look at Robert Graves, he's a sheriff of Cedar County.
Married Samantha Clemenson. Yes.
Yeah, well, he's got a brother named David Graves, and there's a rumor. I don't know if you know any information about this.
So
but that he was molesting his sister or something like that.
He was molesting his stepsister for years. The church knew about it. The Agape church knew about it, and the school knew about it. And he has openly admitted to multiple people, "I love little girls." He has
and he got to work in a dorm.
In Agape, yes, in Agape.
At nighttime with no supervision from other adults watching. Who knows if he molested another kid there, you know?
Exactly.
And this goes back to the background checks. If they would have ran background checks, they would have found out they had an actual legit pedophile working there.
Seriously. Same with Jareth Clemenson. Jareth Clemenson, I believe, was working there after because he has charges from 2017 and 2019. He has 2 separate charges. If you Google Jareth Michael Clemenson, it pops up, and it's 2.
And no notification to any family.
No, I had no idea. I literally found out from the app TikTok.
Yeah.
And the way that my grandma found out, she found out near the, I think middle of 2020. They came to visit, and it was the oldest, Jareth, and I think one of the younger boys, Grant or Jamin, is what my grandma had said. And they all were basically just like, hey, Jareth got caught doing some stuff with his youngest sister, who's 7 years younger than me. And they're 10 years apart, the Jareth and his youngest sister. They told my grandma, hey, he had been caught doing some stuff with his sister. And we sent the sister away, and Jim and Kathy have Jareth in a condo in Cedar County. My grandma then asked her oldest daughter, Jareth's mom, Angela Clemenson, and was basically like, why didn't anybody tell us anything? And and Angela's response was, well, if you wanted to know, you could have asked.
Yeah, so what I get from all this, the Clemenson family is riddled with sexual and physical abuse within their own family, and yet they have a school of 100+ boys.
They've also been kicked out of a church in Woodland, and they claimed they don't know why. But in the Bible, it states that if you're going to kick somebody out of a church, you have to give them a reason. So, my grandpa's a pastor. You have to give a reason. And they just said, they just didn't want us going anymore. We don't know. They just didn't want us going. There's definitely a reason, and I bet it was a sexual reason. My mom is actually she's doing her little own detective work to find which church it was and speak to the pastor, because she's curious to know.
Yeah, message me and I'll find that out today.
Absolutely.
You're going to be filing a police report pretty soon against the family, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be, the next time I go to where all the abuse happened in Stockton, California, I will be filing a police report against the four oldest Clemensons, and Angela and Alan as well.
Yeah, well, I think let's start with Proverbs 28:15. It says, whoever conceals their transgressions will not have mercy, and whoever prays and asks the Lord for forgiveness shall have their transgressions lifted from them. I don't believe that's true. I think the Clemenson family and everyone else should not have Jesus should not be able to forgive their sins. I think that's a lie, and I think that they should carry it around the guilt for the rest of their lives. And I think that, I mean, that's the only way you can get better, is to always carry around what you've done wrong and to be reminded. So you can hear the kids that you hurt, you can hear them always screaming, and Jesus won't forgive you.
I also have a Bible verse as well. So it says, but who shall cause one of those little ones, it's Matthew 18:6. But who shall cause one of those little ones who believe in me to fall, where it was better for him that he hung a millstone around his neck and were drowned about the sea. Basically stating, if you offend a child, God believes that you should have a millstone wrapped around your neck and thrown at the sea. And I think Jim, Kathy, Robert, Dave, all of the Graves, I think all of the Clementons should have that done. It says it in the Bible. I feel like it should be done. And I think that eventually justice will come out, and I'm very excited to see how this turns out and to see justice be served and to give justice to these survivors and abuse victims, even the ones that are too afraid to come out and speak. You have a safe place, at least here with me. Absolutely with me. Definitely a good person to talk to if you ever want to speak about anything.
Hey, and also don't forget, we have a petition on change.com. It's called Agapé Boys Ranch. Shutting it down. It's actually got quite a bit of good response here since the last interview we did with Talk Believes. I encourage everyone to go ahead and still sign it. We're not at the goal yet, but we're getting closer every day. Thanks.